everyone, my name is Tisha and you're watching Easy Vegetarian Cooking. Well, my objective for this show is to help you guys cook quick and easy vegetarian food, and in my hope that you guys will be including more vegetarian food every single day. So today we will be cooking brunch burritos. It's very simple, very easy to put together. But don't you love brunch? You know, if you're like me, I love Sunday brunches. I love sleeping in late on Sundays, getting up, cooking a nice brunch. And you know, sometimes when you're in the city, if you're living in the city, fantastic. If you are visiting the city, it's easy to just walk around to your favorite brunch places. But maybe you don't want to wait until Sunday to get brunch. Or maybe it's just too cold outside to go get brunch outside, right? So this recipe is going to be so easy to put together that you'll love this brunch. Just open a bottle of wine or some sangria and you'll be done. Well, so we'll be cooking brunch burritos. Very easy to put together. All you need is some tortillas. You can use wheat, white, spinach, whatever you like. We'll be using 4 toppings. We'll be using black beans, some tofu, well, a little about that later, some avocados, and roasted red potatoes. Well, black beans, you can either soak it, prepare it, boil it, you know, the whole step process, or you can do what I do. I get these cans, which is the Whole Foods brand. They're actually the 365 brand, which is the Whole Foods brand, and I like them because they're prepared in water and no preservatives added. In fact, I get the ones which don't even have salt. There's another brand called Eden brand, which also uses a similar technology to preserve beans. They also use a seaweed like a kombu to preserve these beans. I think this is pretty much the only canned food that I use, but I love these because I don't have much time to cook, and you know, I use these beans almost everywhere. I use the red kidney beans, I use the black beans, the lima, the cannellini, all sorts of beans, the garbanzo beans, and I stock them up on my pantry, and it lasts for about a week, 2 weeks, and then I replenish it. But it's so much easier to cook, and you can use in salads, you can use in different types of dishes like a burrito, or you can use it in a soup or a stew, right? Well, so we're going to use black beans. Just rinse them, remove them from the can, and rinse them. This is about 2 cans. We're also going to use some tofu. Now, I know you may not like tofu. A lot of people don't like tofu. But believe me, you won't even taste it. You know, it's amazing because I like tofu, and I like it because it's so versatile. It doesn't have a flavor. So whatever you add into it, it'll just take up the flavor of that spice or the herb that you put in. More healthy than cheese or any other ingredient that you put in. And what I like about it is, you know, it provides that texture in our burritos. We have so many different, you'll see, we'll have so many different textures, so many different flavors going on in this burrito that you will be amazed. So I like the smooth texture of the tofu in the burrito. Well, I'm going to tell you how you prepare this tofu. It's very easy. Just get the organic firm tofu. Actually, a lot of grocery stores do have organic tofu these days. And all you have to do is just crumble it with your hands. And before you crumble it, you want to remove the water, because if you don't drain out the water, when you cook it, it'll be very soggy. So when you put it into your burrito, the burrito will be very watery. So just squeeze it, crumble it, and for the seasoning, what I did was I took some oil, heated it a little bit, added a couple of pinches of turmeric, and salt and pepper. Well, I haven't added any salt and pepper to this, but we'll be adding it a little later. All I did was I heated this tofu, the crumbled tofu, in some turmeric. And turmeric adds such a pretty yellow color that when we assemble it on our burrito, it looks so pretty. The third topping that we'll add is roasted red potatoes. Now, I think this is the topping which is going to take the longest in this burrito, about 10 to 15 minutes. It depends how you cook it. So I already prepared, I've already put this for cooking, about 5 to 10 minutes back, and it's almost done. I'm going to finish it off. All I did was I took a medium potato and cut it into 16 to 20 pieces. So you want to slide it lengthwise 4 times and then cut it in about 16 pieces in total. And cook them or roast them in a skillet for about 15 minutes, I would say, tops. If you want to cook faster, what I do is I take a pot of boiling water, drop all of this in, cook it for 2 to 3 minutes, and then remove it and just put it in a skillet. It just cooks so much faster. It reduces the time by 5 to 7 minutes. And you don't have to worry about eating raw potatoes. Look at the beautiful color. Here, I added some olive oil and just the potatoes. And to season it, I added some crushed black pepper, a little bit of rosemary, and a little bit of dried parsley. You can just do salt and pepper if you like, but I like the rosemary and I like the little parsley flavor in it. Remember, you want to put the salt in the end, because if you add salt in the beginning of the cooking, you won't get crispy potatoes. All the water will seep into these potatoes and you won't get the crunch. I'm just going to crank up the heat a little bit so I get crispier shells. It's amazing. I love the rosemary smell in it. Ooh. All right, so once these are done, I'm just going to heat my beans just to bring up the temperature of all the toppings together. So just a quick recap. What we did was we're going to have the tortillas and top them up with 4 toppings: black beans, some tofu, some red potatoes, roasted red potatoes, and avocado. Now, I was shopping for these avocados in the morning at the grocery store, and this gentleman stopped me, and he wanted to know, how do you pick the avocados? I was taken aback because I'm so used to buying stuff, and I don't even think about how do you actually select the best avocados. So when you pick the avocados, you want them firm. If you press them gently and they produce a dent in the avocados, that means they're overripe. You don't want them. And as long as they're firm, you're good to go. In fact, if you keep it for a day, it ripens automatically. The more you keep it, the more it ripens. So I'm going to use some avocados in it. Let's just cut the avocados and keep them, and then we'll mix all of the toppings in the tortilla. Nice and firm. Just going to use a spoon to scoop this out and cut them in small pieces. And then, once our toppings are ready, our potatoes are ready, and our beans are heated, I'm going to start assembling my tortilla. All right. It's nice and firm. I love avocados. They're buttery and creamy. Gives that subtle taste to any dish. All right, just going to put them aside for now. Add them later to our burritos. I'm going to do this later. I think we don't need that much. Let's see how our potatoes are doing. All righty. They look done. All right, this looks done. You put that aside for now. Almost burnt myself. All right. We're just going to heat our tortillas. Now, you can get these tortillas or you can get the regular big rolls. Anything, as long as they're large enough, because I love piling all the toppings in. I just love the pilings and stuffing it in. So I get the big burritos. And the funny part is, especially if you're feeding your kids, be careful. I made these for my nephews, and it was funny actually, because I was babysitting them one day, and they gave me a really hard time. So I told them that I'm going to make burritos for them in the evening. Well, these are brunch burritos, but you can eat at any time, right? So I made these huge burritos for every single one of them. One is 8-year-old and the other one is 10. It was a good comeback. By the end of the dinner, they were so stuffed, they really wanted to take a walk. But yeah, I love the portion of this. And if it's too big for you, you know what, you can save it and eat it the next day for lunch. Looks like my pan is too small for my tortilla. See, I told you, I pick really, really big ones. Come on. Well, the pan is going to heat a while. So the other thing I do is, for my tortilla, I like to flavor it a little bit. Well, if you like, you can just top all the toppings and use the sauce or the salsa we're going to be making after this. But what I also like to do is make a quick spread. What I do is I use the egg-free mayo. You can use the regular mayo if you like that. I just love the flavor of the egg-free mayo. I get the Follow Your Heart brand, but you can get other brands, whatever you like, and you can get it at any big supermarkets. But as I said, you know, you can use the regular mayo as well. So for this spread, I'm just going to use a little bit of my egg-free mayo and the secret ingredient, smoked Spanish paprika. Oops, give me 1 second. All right, smoked Spanish paprika. I just love the smoky flavor of this. Just reminds me of barbecue in the summer, especially if you're making this in winter. It can really make you miss the summer. Okay, gotta open this. It's nice and smoky. So I'm gonna add a little bit. And you know, it's not spicy. It has the heat, but it's not spicy. And it has this beautiful smoky flavor that just adds that oomph to your burrito. All right. Add a little, taste it, and if you like, you can add a little more. Just mix it in, and that's our spread. Really, it's that easy. Give it a little taste. So good. This is a smoky flavor. So nice. Wow. All right. Looks like our tortilla is ready. Almost. Okay. Now to assemble it, I'm just going to lather it with my spread generously. It's so tasty. It'll give that extra flavor. You know, I attribute this recipe to Ross Alcovery of Sprig and Wine. If you haven't been to his restaurant, you gotta go. Oh my God. He's a great guy and a wonderful, wonderful chef. In the small time I worked with him, this was one of my favorite recipes. And one time I asked him, you know, how do you make it? How do you make it so good? And he gave me this entire long process of how he makes this really nice guy. So told me everything. And it takes him about 2 to 3 days to prep everything. in different processes. In fact, he has a 3-step process to even roast the potatoes. It's crazy. So, well, this is my homemade, adapted, modified version, shortcut version of his recipe. This is one of my favorites. You know, if you ever find yourself in New Hope in Pennsylvania, you got to try his restaurant. It's called Sprig and Wine. It's right next to Triumph, the brewery in New Hope. Sunday brunches are fantastic over there. All right. So now I'm just going to heat my beans. In fact, what I'm going to do, maybe I'll just use this to heat my beans. Just bring them to a temperature which is warm enough. Put the heat to medium. Our tortilla is ready as a base. I'm going to pile my beans first to it. You know what? I'm going to add a little more bean. I just love beans. And as I said, I love topping this burrito with different toppings and make it really fat. It's all healthy stuff. Beans are great. Tofu is great. And potatoes are great. So once this is done, we're going to pile our tortillas with black beans. Then our pretty little tofu on top, our roasted red potatoes. Season it with some salt and pepper, some avocados on top, and wrap it, roll it, and you're done. The only thing that will be remaining is the sauce. We're going to be making the salsa de verde, which is just a fancy name for green salsa. But you'll love it. You'll love it. You can get the store-bought version. You get it at the regular grocery stores right next to the sauces, like the pasta sauces and other sauces. You get the salsa de verde bottle. But you know, making your own, especially when tomatillos are in season, you gotta taste it. And it's so simple to make. All right. So towards the lower end, I'm going to start piling in all my toppings. I'm going to make a bed of the black beans. Now goes our tofu. You know, if you don't like tofu, you gotta still try it at least once. For my sake, just try it. If you still don't like it, it's okay. You can add cheese. You can add cottage cheese for the texture. That's okay too. Alrighty. Look at the pretty color with the black background, the yellow tofu on top. It's just amazing. I can't get over the color. It's so good. All right. Now go our potatoes. Wow, it's like amazing rosemary smell. Just pile them on top gently. See how crispy they are. You see the light brown skin on top. Okay, add a little bit more. Now I'm going to season it with some pepper, some salt, and avocados. Pretty color. Just wrap it. See, if you stuff it less, you can wrap it better. Wrap it, wrap it, wrap it. Okay, so we'll put this aside, and then in the meantime, we'll make the salsa with it. Just put it over here for a bit. And I'm going to show you how to make the salsa. Now for the salsa, all you need is green tomatoes or tomatillos. And a lot of times you get tomatillos in the regular grocery stores. Any large supermarket has it. If you don't find tomatillos, you can actually use the regular tomatoes as well to make the regular salsa with the same recipe. But they have a very different taste. And I know green tomatoes may not be as appetizing when you look at them. Yeah, you like the red plum varieties, right? But, you know, the green tomatoes, especially in the salsa, work great. They are so good. I'll show you how they look like. So these are tomatillos. And you can get it at most big supermarkets. They have this husk on top. You remove the husk, wash them, and all you have to do is to either boil them or roast them for the salsa. Boiling is usually more common, but roasting has an amazing flavor. What I did was I already boiled them. All you have to do is bring a pot of water to boil, and then drop these tomatillos in the water and simmer it for about 5 minutes. And you'll see the color changing. You see the bright green color right now? And when you drop it in boiling water and let it simmer for 5 minutes, you'll see the color change to olive green. And I'll show you one of them. If you don't see the color changing, you would see the contrast of the color. Don't cook it too long because it can actually rupture and all the green tomato juice would be swimming in your pot of boiling water. So for this salsa, all I did was I boiled these tomatillos in boiling water, simmered them for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to use a blender. I'm just going to add all these tomatillos in my blender. Remove the stem. Just add them to your blender. It's beautiful inside. It's like a regular tomato, except for it's green. Green with envy. Okay. So 4 tomatillos boiled in simmered in boiling water for about 5 minutes. Add it to your blender. Now we're going to add 1 onion, little small onion, to this. Okay. So small onion. Just add it in. Add it in. Now comes the fun part. We're going to be adding some green chilies. Give it a little bit of a kick. Well, these are Thai green chilies. Look at that. I keep a stash. I love it hot. I love all my food extremely hot. But sometimes I just skip the green chilies altogether to bring out the flavors in the food. But just to give it a little bit of a kick, we're going to add, you know what, just add 1 for now. These are extremely hot. These are Thai green chilies. If you don't want to go too far, just add half a serrano pepper or habanero. That's it. Don't go too far. It can get really hot. So you want to de-seed it. I'm going to keep the seeds in because it's really tiny. And the 4th thing I'm going to add is some cilantro. I've already pre-washed this. You just need about a big palmful of cilantro. I'm going to add a little water so that my blender will be able to move. Some lemon juice and some salt. That's all. We'll add a little bit more if we need it. I'm just going to add half a lemon, or rather lime, to this, and that's all. We'll add some salt a little later. Let me rip this. Add a little bit of water. So it's able to move. All right. Looks good. Okay, are you ready for some noise? Are you ready for some noise? This is going to make some noise. So good. I can smell the cilantro and the lemon. It's just amazing. And the tomatillos, so good. Gonna give it a little taste. Obviously needs salt. It's a little bit of salt. It's so good. Maybe I'm gonna add a little bit more lemon juice. Just make it tangy. A little bit tangy. Now you can do two things. You can either serve this burrito as a burrito, or you can serve it as a salad topped with a salsa. So that's the burrito. I'm going to garnish it with a couple of things. Now, I can either serve it in these little bowls on the side, or I can top it up. Look at the color. You know, if you use white tortillas, they give a nice white background with the green sauce. I'm also going to use just top it up with some cherry tomatoes. There you go, and you have your perfect brunch burritos ready. They're so huge. Well, you can, if you think that these are big in size, you can use little taco shells and fill it in with all these different stuffings. They'll taste exactly the same or much better, especially they're in small sizes. Particularly if you have like little cocktail parties or you want to serve small servings, you can get those small taco shells and add these stuffings in. Well, and you know, you can use all this leftover salsa with nachos or chips, anything. You can use it so many different ways. So there you go. You have brunch burritos. So good. I prefer some salsa inside the burrito. It's up to you. If you want to top it on top, that's fine. Do try it at home. You can open a bottle of sangria with it. Try your nice own Sunday brunch, whatever you like. Let me know. Thanks for watching, and remember, it doesn't take a long time to cook a delicious vegetarian meal every single day.